Hey guys, when I posted my last video about what is LLM red teaming, someone asked me in the comments, how does one become a red teamer? And I thought that was a really great question. And I started writing to them in the comments, and I got to about 1,000 words before I was like, this is really long for a comment. Maybe I should just make a video about it. So that's what I'm doing here. Just real quick and dirty, no fancy animations or anything. Just me telling you how someone becomes an LLM red teamer, or at least how the people I know do. There's probably other ways out there. But I can say that for our teams at InnoData, usually they're internal transfers. So they're people who are working on other teams doing other kind of generative AI work. So things like rating model outputs, writing Q&A pairs for fine tuning, writing dense captions, things like that. But I think it's probably likely that we'll hire externally in the future. And I guess that goes on the website. Um, and I know that there's other companies that do this and they hire externally, I'm sure. I also know that a lot of companies use crowdsourcing and contractors for red teaming. We don't as much at InnoData. We usually do direct hires, but a lot of companies use crowd. So if you can get in with some crowd work, that's a good way to get experience. As far as qualifications, this is what I look for when I'm hiring red teamers. So first thing is writing ability. Writing skills are super important for this job because, duh, it's a writing job. It may seem like it's really simple writing because you're, writing a few sentences, you're not writing a dissertation or anything, but you really need to have the intuition for language that comes from writing experience. So several of our red teamers have writing related hobbies like, writing fiction on posting it online and things like that. Other red teamers have actually advanced degrees and so have a lot of experience writing that way. The second thing is creativity. Aside from being able to write well and have that linguistic intuition, creativity is super important. You have to be constantly trying different angles to break the model, and you often need to adopt different personas. This is another reason why related experience in Gen AI data creation is useful because it often involves, being a different persona and writing responses in a particular way like that. So another thing that's really important is mindset. You need to think this shit is fun. I've hired people before who had all the right qualities on paper, but during the training, when we're doing the Gandalf exercise, which if you don't know what Gandalf is, Google it. It's awesome. Actually, I'll link to it in the description. So most people love this part of the training. They think it's so much fun. It's really hands-on, trying to crack a model. But I've hired people where they were yeah, this is frustrating and tedious. And I was like, yeah, I think we're going to need to move you to a different team. I don't think red teaming is for you. Because if they don't like cracking safes and solving puzzles, they're not going to enjoy red teaming. And if they're not enjoying it, they're not going to be very good at it. Another thing is experience. So I mentioned, Gen AI experience is helpful. Ideally, someone would have actual red teaming experience from working at a competitor, at a crowdsource, as a crowdsource worker, or even cracking LLMs for fun and posting on Reddit kind of stuff. But all of this is so new. A lot of people don't have that experience yet. So I have not made it a requirement and probably won't for a considerable amount of time. It's easy enough to train people who have the right kind of skills and mindset to do this kind of work without them having the specific experience doing it. So a final thing to talk about is viewpoint and life experience. It's super important for me to hire diverse people to make up a red team. And this is not necessarily racial, ethnic, gender diversity, although, that's important to consider. But more importantly, ideological diversity, background diversity, and diversity of life experience. I was interviewing a candidate once who mentioned writing fan fiction with her siblings and kept talking. I was like, how many siblings do you have? And it was something crazy like 30 because she grew up in a polygamous family in a fundamentalist Mormon community. And when she said that in my head, I was kind of like, you're hired because that person is going to know words and concepts and ways of looking at the world that are totally different from me, totally different from the other people on her team. And because of that, she's going to be able to attack the model from a different direction. And also, of course, the fact that she writes fan fiction for fun is an obvious plus too. What is a midwit example that I give in the other video is actually a real world example from one of our red teamers who himself is kind of a conspiracy theory guy and hangs out in places in the internet that I don't know about. And that's what makes him such a good red teamer. Like he just knows things that the people who make these models, the people who test these models, they just don't know about the world and they would never think to ask, like midwits. So this is really super important to me when I'm looking at putting a red team together. Now, this is not to say that someone needs to have like a crazy backstory or all this sort of stuff to get on it. Like there's plenty of people on our red teams that have fairly kind of normal lives and normal experience and things like that. But I'm just saying, when I'm putting together a team, I'm really looking at getting these kind of different viewpoints and making sure that the team is diverse, because I think that's going to be the best way to attack the model in those ways that the automated systems are never going to be able to. So those are my thoughts about how to become a red teamer, what I look for when I hire red teamers. If you have any other questions, please post them in the comments, and if something's really interesting to me and I want to write an essay about it, then maybe I'll make another video about it. And thanks a lot to the user who posted this question.